Hey, I'm back. It's been a while. Sorry for the delay. But I had an inspiration, kind of an odd thing I thought I would try to do today. And that is to talk about the difference between these two horses. Well, actually, they're not both horses. This is clearly a unicorn, as we can see here. But other than that, and that this unicorn doesn't have Napoleon riding on his back, uh, what is the difference between these two horses, these two sculptures? Well, I'm going to tell you. To me, there is no difference at all. They are exactly the same thing when we talk about sculpture. So, this guy has got a head, he's got a body, he's got legs, tail, mane. Same with this guy here. But you might say, well, yeah, look, this guy is a cartoon and this guy is realistic. And that is true, but they are exactly the same in that they're all made up of simple shapes. And the only difference between these two is that the horse on the right has got a lot more of those shapes than the horse on the left. So I'll do a quick little draw over, we'll talk about it and see the difference and the similarity. So with our horse here, obviously our unicorn, but horse, simple egg shape, right? The body, again, is sort of a elongated sphere. Two very clear, simple shapes, and then we're looking at the blend, the merge between the two, the meniscus, as it were, and that is basically the inside edge of a torus, essentially. I mean, obviously it changes, but that's what we're seeing there. The leg, it's basically a simple tapered cylinder, and again, here's the body. And the thing to look out for here is the actual connection point, the arc that creates, and then again the blend between the two. Simple radius taper between the two. Same with the front leg. Big tapered cylinder and a very specific connection point, and again its blend between the two forms. So 3 or 4 very simple shapes. Obviously there are other things going on here, but that comprises an extremely simple character. And I'll show you the same exact thing is going on with our horse over here to the right. There's just more of it. So as you know, I'm a big proponent of understanding the hierarchy of forms, the primary, secondary, tertiary shapes. So obviously if we look at this back leg, huge primary shape here of the upper leg, and then this is essentially the calf, the lower leg, and obviously the elements of the foot down here. If we were to break this down into simple shapes like we saw up there, we've got a big teardrop. Here we've got essentially a tapered cylinder, right? Another tapered cylinder right here. Again, and sort of a cone, or again tapered cylinder. So these are your primary forms. But let's get in a little bit closer. Okay, so now that we're closer and we look at the secondary forms, all these muscle groups, again, just like in our little silly unicorn, these are just simple shapes that are intersecting each other with the slight little meniscus, blend between the two, the band that goes, from one to the other. Same thing here, big old teardrop. Now, of course, these are muscles, but they are forms. So simple forms, all just running into each other. Back here, we've got a cylinder of this tendon. Notice the intersection here between that muscle group, this one, and this one. It's 3 colliding groups with the subsequent blend or meniscus between the two. So you can see that this is exactly the same thing as our other guy. It's just more of it. And that is a very, I think, important thing to think about. I did some lessons recently with a couple of students who are very good sculptors and just challenged them to create a character this simple. You can think of like the Kid Robot money characters or any sort of like super simple kid toy basically. It is a challenge if you're not used to it to create something this simple and this clean. And if you can control your shapes to create something this simple, then it's just a leap over to this guy because you're doing more and more of it. Now, of course, you need to keep the hierarchy of form, the grace, the elegance of the sculpting all in mind. But sculpting a realistic character is exactly the same as sculpting something this simple. And in my opinion, the only way you'll be able to successfully sculpt something beautiful like this is to be able to control something this simple. So that's a little challenge I'll give you. Try to find a really simple character and make it and really control those forms. Look at the cross sections, the intersections, the blends, and see if you can do it. It's not impossible, it just takes a little bit of time and work. One little note, I did not sculpt this. This is scan data from somewhere online, so I just wanted to credit that. But this little fella here, I made for a very special friend of mine, young lady, and she knows who she is, so thank you for the inspiration on that. And okay, hope that was helpful, and see you next time.